Hey, boss of YouTube, 6 Foot Hacks here. Have for you guys today the team building video for week 2 of the Battle Union. Now, if you guys may have missed our week 1 match, a link to that should be down in the description for you guys to go check out after this video. If you guys haven't seen it already, definitely go check it out. Tomorrow, week 2 should be live around 5 or 6 p.m. Eastern time, depending on how long it takes me to edit it and put everything together. So, of course, if you do enjoy the video, make sure to hammer that like button down below, guys. Thank you for the great support on the week 1 analysis video and the week 1 match itself. It was really awesome, guys. Thank you again so much. Let me know in the comment section below what you think about the squad that we are bringing this week and what you think about our matchup. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, this is probably one of the, if not the toughest matchup that we have in our division for the TBU. Like, this matchup is absolutely terrifying, mainly because of Excadrill. Now, as you guys can see from our draft, we have a bit of a ground weakness as it is, but Excadrill in sand is absolutely terrifying. Like, that thing is going to be such a problem, and there's really no reason for him to not bring Tyranitar plus Excadrill. I'm pretty sure I know exactly what 6 Mons he's going to bring. Now, his 3 benched Pokemon are Alolan Executor, the Stoutland, and the Frostlass, and I'm really happy that he didn't decide to swap his Frostlass for one of his Mons to be put on the bench, because if he had brought Frostlass, he could have hindered the plan that we have going into this actual matchup. Now, because this is such a terrible matchup, I decided to take a bit of a different route going into this game. I normally like to play bulky offense, as you guys may know, but even that type of playstyle, or a defensive type of playstyle, is really not good in this matchup. Buzzwole, Excadrill, Mega Blastoise, and Moltres all just pressure any 6 Pokemon that I want to bring, and I tried to take a bulky offensive route, but just the more I played scenarios in my head, the more it was really not good. So I decided to take a completely different route for this game. And with that being said, let's take a look at the squad we are bringing. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, we may take a W week 2. Not a W, we may take an L week 2, but that is not to say I am not going to be trying my best to win week 2 and put Skyrander down like we did in the VPL. If you guys may have seen that match, we were able to walk out with the victory. So hopefully we can do the same this week, because we're able to beat Esquil in VPL and we beat them last week. So hopefully we can do the same to Sky. Now let's take a look at the first Pokemon that the Durham Druddigons will be bringing for this week of the TBU, and that is going to be Teach the Zoroark. Shouts out if you get the nickname reference. I hope you guys do. I really hope you guys do. But we took Zoroark off the bench for Garbodor, because Garbodor was really not going to be doing anything in this matchup, with him having Excadrill and being able to pressure me with Mega Blastoise and Gardevoir and even Moltres. Although Spikes would be absolutely amazing, he's got 2 really good Rapid Spinners, and my Ghost type is Mimikyu, which can't exactly spin block too well unless I aggressively switch it in, predicting a Rapid Spin. But we do have Teach here, and actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to save Teach for a second, because I'm going to show you guys the most important Pokemon, I think, going into this matchup, and that is going to be Thego the Necrozma. Now, the reason why Thego is such a huge factor in this game is because he, 9 times out of 10 in the scenarios that I played in my mind, he is definitely going to be our lead, because dual screens are going to be absolutely huge in this game. Like I said, I'm taking a very different approach to this matchup. I'm taking a very offensive, aggressive approach, and the downside of that is that that's how Sky plays. Like, Sky is a very aggressive and offensive player, so I have to tailor my team to his playstyle, which can maybe backfire, because if I'm not able to abuse dual screens in this matchup, then this game can go very bad. So I'm going to show you guys what I think Sky is going to bring, and that is these Mons right here: Tyranitar, Buzzwole, Excadrill, Blastoise, and Gardevoir. The last 2 moves on Moltres are Roost and Toxic. Those are just really filler moves. I don't really know what EV spread he could be running on Tyranitar. He's definitely going to be a defensive set, I think, Buzzwole could be a huge issue if it's substitute 3 attacks. Excadrill literally has no reason to not just be adamant with Life Orb, running SD, Poison Jab, Rock Slide, and Earthquake, so that's a problem. Scald, Ice Beam, and Aura Sphere hit everything that I want to bring, so Mega Blastoise is going to be a huge pain to deal with. Regular Gardevoir is most likely going to be Choice Scarf, so I'm definitely going to have to watch out for that, especially because he can have Healing Wish. Then his last move could be anything like Destiny Bond, Trick, Will-O-Wisp, Disable if he's crazy, so that's going to be a bit of a problem. Moltres is a really good offensive threat that is his only real switch-in to my Shaman, but I do have the tech, which you guys will see in a second. So let's take back a look at Necrozma here. We are running a lot of speed. We're running enough speed to outspeed Adamant Tyranitar if he does want to, for some reason, run max speed Adamant T-Tar. We can also outspeed minimal speed EV Blastoise, which is really good. So the idea going into this match is lead off with Necrozma, and depending on the matchup, I'm either going to go for Rocks or go for one of my screens turn 1, and then Brick Break is going to be really good against Tyranitar because I could potentially burn a Chople Berry, which means that my Infernape and my Zoroark will later be able to knock him out. And if I'm somehow able to save Necrozma after getting up screens, I do have the Healing Wish on my Shaman, so I can hopefully Healing Wish on my final attack back into Necrozma, get my screens up, and then maybe from there be able to clean up his team with either Zoroark or Infernape, or maybe even Jolteon or Mimikyu. Definitely Mimikyu is our win condition going into this game. I know I just spoiled some of the Pokemon that we are bringing, but we're gonna hop back to Zoroark because there's not really much to say about Necrozma outside of the fact that he's our lead. We're gonna get up screens with him, Break Tyranitar, and if possible, get up Stealth Rocks. And the good thing about is getting up Stealth Rocks is that if he does have Moltres, with this team being so offensively based, then I can hopefully apply a lot of pressure to Sky to the point where he doesn't feel comfortable in rapid spinning. And that turn that he does waste rapid spinning just lets me beat his Excadrill or his Blastoise, or it gives me a free switch into something else on my team to then apply more pressure to him. Now, another huge thing about Sky's draft is that his fastest Pokemon reach, at level 50, reach 156 speed. That means my Zoroark, my Infernape, my Jolteon, and even, well, not Mimikyu, but Jolteon, Infernape, and Zoroark all can run plus attack or plus special attack natures depending on what their sets are. So that's really good going into this match because that just means they're going to be outputting a lot more power and doing a lot more damage in this game. And if I am able to get the dual screens up, that's going to be really good for us in this matchup. With dual screens up, that means that my offensive Pokemon can live more than one attack and can always live one attack depending on rolls and how much Sandstorm or Life Orb damage I have taken. So that's going to allow me to possibly nab 2 more KOs or just 2 KOs in general, because I'm thinking that I'm always going to at least KO 1 Pokemon. If I can KO 2, that's great. If I can take down 3, that's absolutely phenomenal and is going to put us in a very good spot. So as you can see from the moveset on Zoroark, we have Grass Knot, Night Daze, Low Click, and Flamethrower. Flamethrower 100% always KOs Buzzwole and Excadrill, which is really good. Grass Knot does about 71 to 85% to Blastoise depending on his spread, and actually no, my bad, that's damage to Jellicent depending on his spread, and to Blastoise, if he's not running any Spadef investment and running a lot of HP investment, it does 76 to 90%. So after Rocks and a turn of Sandstorm damage, I have about a 50-60% chance to knock him out with the Grass Knot, which is really good. I did originally have Night Daze on this set as opposed to Sucker Punch, but I changed it last minute because Night Daze literally hits nothing that Sucker Punch wouldn't already hit, and plus Night Daze doesn't really KO anything outside of maybe Jellicent, but then with screens up, Jellicent can't do anything back to me, so I can just Grass Knot it and potentially 2-hit KO him. So that's really good. Low Kick, as long as I'm able to burn Chople Berry on Tyranitar, is always going to be O-code unless he's running like max defense, max HP, and I'm not able to get off a bit of prior damage, so that could maybe be a bit of a problem. But Sucker Punch to Excadrill does about 35, does 44 to 50%, which is absolutely huge because that means after Sucker Punch damage and a turn of Life Orb damage, he is 100% in range of where +2 Mimikyu can come in and knock him out with the Shadow Sneak. So it's going to be really huge going into this game. We also do about 50 to 60% to the Gardevoir, putting it in range of where a non-boosted Mimikyu Shadow Sneak knocks it out, and we do about 35 to 40% to the Moltres, which is really good. And like I said, if I'm able to get up rocks and get up my screens and pressure Sky, then we're going to be in a really good scenario in this matchup, especially against the Moltres, because that means he's not going to feel comfortable in rapid spinning away rocks. That means Moltres is going to be losing 50% of his health going into this match. So Zoroark is going to be playing a pretty good factor in this match, not to mention that I can also disguise him as either my Infernape or my Mimikyu and maybe force Sky to stay in thinking that I'm Mimikyu, and then I can pick up a surprise KO, and then from there he'll have to deal with Mimikyu later in the match thinking that my Zoroark was Mimikyu when it's really not. But you get what I'm trying to say. So Zoroark, I think, can really do a lot of damage in this game, and will definitely be picking up 1 KO, if not maybe 2, depending on how I play it. So I have a lot of high hopes for Zoroark going into this match. Next off, we have Guerrero the Infernape, also making his debut for the Durham Druddigons in the TBU. We are running a Adamant Max Attack Nature. Again, we have enough speed to outspeed Jolly Moltres, Excadrill, well, not Jolly Moltres, but Timid Moltres, Jolly Excadrill, and Jolly Max Speed Buzzwole, which is really good. We can also outspeed non-Scarf Gardevoir, regardless of whatever it's running. Mach Punch is probably my best way of checking Excadrill, and the downside of that is that unless he takes 2 turns of Life Orb damage, then I can't OHKO him with the Mach Punch because it only does 81 to 96%, which is so frustrating, man. I was really hoping that Adamant Iron Fist Life Orb Mach Punch would knock him out, but no, it does 81 to 96%. So after 2 turns of Life Orb damage, I'm guaranteed to OHKO the Excadrill, or he could be running like Choppleberry or something crazy like that. So definitely gonna have to watch out for that. Close Combat is literally really only for the Tyranitar. Like, I mean, I guess if he brings Magnezone, then I can have it for that, but I mean, I have Flare Blitz as well for the Magnezone, but Close Combat is literally just for the Tyranitar, which it's going to be straight O-code unless it's max defense, max HP with Choppleberry, and I'm not able to get off a bit of power damage, but I'm pretty sure that I'm going to get off at least a Brick Break with my Necrozma, because his leads going into this match are either going to be Blastoise or the Tyranitar is what I'm expecting. Unless he brings Magnezone, then I guess he could lead Magnezone, but literally Magnezone doesn't do anything in this game. I don't see him wanting to bring Roselia just because it can also do nothing. Like, Moltres is probably his best last Pokemon that he should bring in this matchup, I think. So that's what I'm expecting. Fire Blast straight OHKO's Excadrill, OHKO's Buzzwole. Does not Fire Blast. Is Fire Blast? No. Hold on. Flare Blitz, sorry. My bad. Flare Blitz OHKO's non-max HP, non-Choppleberry Buzzwole. We OHKO Gardevoir, and in screens, Gardevoir can't kill me in return unless it locks himself into Psychic if it's Scarfed. And if it is Scarfed and locks itself into Psychic, then that gives me a free switch into my Zoroark, so I can potentially get another KO from there. Like I said, this is just a really aggressive matchup going into this game. Thunder Punch does 60 to 71% to Megastoise depending on his spread, and it does about 83 to 99% to Moltres. So if I'm able to get up rocks or do 2 turns of Life Orb damage to Moltres, then Thunder Punch 100% knocks him out, and we do about 55 to 65% to max defense, max HP Jellicent, which I'm very positive that he's not going to bring Blastoise and Jellicent. He most likely is going to just bring Blastoise instead of Jellicent, so definitely going to have to watch out for that. But that is Infernape in a nutshell. Basically, after getting up screened, it's going to be down to Infernape and Zoroark to break down Sky's team, so that then I can bring in my Shaman and pressure him even more. And like I said, the beautiful thing about Shaman in this matchup is that he literally has nothing for this. I mean, I guess if he brings Magnezone, he's got to pseudo switch him because I don't have Earth Power. And I mean, I have Air Slash for the Roselia, which again, I'm 99% sure he's not going to bring Magnezone or Roselia just because they really don't do anything in this matchup. So we have Air Slash for Buzzwole mainly, and I guess for the Roselia, if he wants to bring it, he can't bring Alolan and Executor because it is on the bench. We have Hidden Power Rock. That is literally only for the Moltres. We 110% always knock him out with Hidden Power Rock, which is really good. Seed Flare is just an amazing spammable move in this matchup. Hold on, let me see the calcs. So Seed Flare does 60 to 70% to Tyranitar. If it's out of sand, it's straight O-code. And we do about 84 to 101% to Excadrill. We do, I want to say about 70 to 80% to the Gardevoir, if I'm not mistaken. And if we have dual screens up, Gardevoir's Moonblast or Psychic only does about 20 to 30%. So Seed Flare Shaman is going to be putting in a lot of work in this match, unless I miss, which would be absolutely terrible. And then, if I'm able to save my Zoroark, my Infernape, or mainly Necrozma, and I can't knock out the Pokemon I'm going up against, I can then Healing Wish to one of those 3 Mons. Mainly the Necrozma is what I want to Healing Wish back into, just because if I'm able to Healing Wish into Necrozma, that means I can get my screens back up for mid to late game, which is going to be absolutely amazing because that means that I can potentially set up the +4 with my Mimikyu, and then from there we're going to be gravy. Like, we're going to easily pull out a W. And speaking of Mimikyu, here we are just running the same standard set that we were running as week 1, but we have the Farium Z this time instead of the Lumberry. Now the good thing about the Farium Z is that at +2 Twinkle Tackle, what? Twinkle Tackle OHKO's max defense, max HP Blastoise after rocks and a turn of sand. I'm also very positive he's not going to be running max defense, max HP Blastoise. And we also OHKO Jellicent, which is absolutely amazing. We OHKO Buzzwole, we OHKO Tyranitar. We do at +2 93 to 109% to Excadrill, which is absolutely insane. Now, the main thing about Mimikyu, though, is that I'm thinking that I'm going to come in mid to late game, or mainly more near the late game, and set up a Swords Dance to just Shadow Sneak his Pokemon that cannot speed me. So this is where me having Sucker Punch on Zoroark just comes in very handy, because Sucker Punch puts him in range and where +2 Shadow Sneak knocks him out. If I'm not able to get up a Swords Dance, regular Shadow Sneak straight OHKO's Gardevoir, and at +2 we just straight OHKO Gardevoir either way. Shadow Claw does 61 to 72% to the Moltres. So if our disguise is not broken, or if we're able to wear down Moltres enough, we can definitely knock him out with the Shadow Claw. Play Rough, OHKO's Tyranitar at +2 does 85 to 100% to max HP Buzzwole, which I don't think is going to be running, but that could be a bit of a problem. So Moltres could turn out to be a bit of an issue. Originally, I did have Adamant Mimikyu, but I changed it last second to Jolly, just because the damage output from Adamant to Jolly really wasn't that much different. And the good thing about us having Jolly is that now I don't have to worry about trying to weaken Moltres to the point where a +2 Shadow Sneak will knock it out. I can just weaken Moltres to the point where a +2 Shadow Sneak will knock him out. And because of the disguise, we will be able to safely get up a Swords Dance, and then from there potentially sweep late game after we weaken Excadrill and we weaken the Moltres enough. And I'm very positive that he's going to be running the Moltres as opposed to one of his other 2 Mons. If he brings Magnezone, then I'm going to have to get rid of Magnezone, but I should be able to weaken Magnezone enough to where we can knock him out with the +2 Shadow Claw. So that's really good. And moving on to the final member that we are bringing this week, we have Juliet the Jolteon here. As you can see, running a pretty interesting set. Now, first off, I have Quick Feet because Gardevoir learns Trace. I don't want him to switch into my Jolteon on a predicted Thunderbolt, or maybe thinking we have the Volt Switch. The reason why I have Baton Pass is not for agility, but because I don't want to be Pursuit Trapped by Tyranitar. Now, agility is just there if we're able to switch into a potentially Choice Lock in Earthquake Buzzwole, then we can set up agility and maybe sweep late game with Jolteon if everything is weakened, or we can even baton pass the +2 speed to the Infernape or to Zoroark, which at this point in my mind, mid to late game, with them receiving the +2 speed, they outspeed everything. And I highly doubt that if I do that, screens aren't going to be up, so they're just going to be in there to outspeed everything and just try and weaken things again for Mimikyu. If somehow I'm able to baton pass the +2 speed to Mimikyu, that's going to be really good because we essentially come in for free because our disguise will be busted. Although that is kind of a downside because we're not going to be able to Swords Dance, but if somehow I do baton pass a +2 to Mimikyu without my disguise being busted, then I can Swords Dance and we're going to have a +2 attack, +2 speed Mimikyu that's going to destroy everything. So that's going to be really, really good going into this match. Thunderbolt does about 46 to 55% to the Gardevoir, so with screens up, we should be able to beat it 1v1 if it comes down to it, and we do about 74 to 87% to the Blastoise, and we straight Oko Moltres, which is really good. Those are the three main things that I'm going to be Thunderbolting. Hidden Power Fighting does 50 to 60% to the Excadrill, putting it in range of where either Sucker Punch from Zoroark knocks it out, Mach Punch can knock it out from Infernape, and +2 Shadow Sneak can knock it out from Mimikyu. So it's really good. And Adamant Life Orb Rock Slide without screens does 52 to 62% with the amount of HP and defense EVs that we are running. Again, we are running enough speed to outspeed his fastest Pokemon, which is Moltres. That's not counting Excadrill in the sand. So yeah, if Excadrill is in the sand, we can live a Rock Slide. This is also kind of a pseudo switch-in to Earthquake, which I know may sound a little bit weird, but if I do lose my Shaman, I can switch in Jolteon one time to an Earthquake because obviously we're not going to be affected by it because we do have the Air Balloon, and then we can take a Rock Slide, or we can take a Poison Jab, or we can take any other move that the Excadrill wants to go for, and then potentially knock them out with the Hidden Power Fire, or even Agility to potentially try and sweep with Jolteon. So that's really good. So that is the squad that we are bringing this week, guys. We have Teach the Zoroark, Guerrero the Infernape, Tego the Necrozma, Evergreen the Shaman, Peekaboo the Shiny Mimikyu, and of course Juliet the Jolteon. So let me know, guys, what you think about this squad. Comment below of this matchup. Like I said, this is a really, really tough game, but I definitely feel like this plan is going to really help us out. Even if I'm not able to get screens up a second time, just getting them up the first time to allow Zoroark and Infernape to break down Sky's team should be really good for us mid to late game, letting us potentially sweep with Mimikyu late game because of our disguise, as long as it's not broken and everything has been worn down accordingly. So with that being said, guys, our match is going up tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern time or 6 p.m. Eastern time, so be on the lookout for that. And thank you all for watching, guys. With that being said, I will see you all tomorrow. So later, everybody.
Cause my brain and heart are both tied in the knot, and this hinders me from crying a lot. This causing me to show no emotion. But when I said I cared, I wasn't joking. But I guess it's too late for me to become broken. For now, I'm living with no more pain, tears of hoping. I'm just coasting. Yeah, I said I'm coasting. No more pain, tears, and hoping. For real.